First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, thanks for joining us. For those of you who are just watching the noon news, thanks for hopping over. We are live streaming, of course, on our apps, on our website, and our social media channels, bringing you all kinds of coverage here throughout the afternoon. Right now, though, we're talking about something that happened this morning, and that is a news conference that TriMet had announcing the addition of a second Multnomah County DA to help tackle some of the criminal charges that they apply to people who have been on TriMet, and apparently those were not going through before. So we're going to discuss that right now with somebody who is there, who has the news, who was there witnessing this and can recap it for us. We have Connor McCarthy. And Connor, thanks for joining us. So this press conference this morning, a pretty big deal, I feel like, just as far as we've seen. There's been a lot of reports of issues happening on TriMet throughout the metro area, and a lot of those, the reports were that they weren't getting prosecuted. But this attempted to tackle that. Can you kind of recap that for us?
Yeah, it's definitely a big announcement. It just is showing TriMet's commitment to increasing safety on their whole system, whether it's on the buses, on the MAX trains. But TriMet wants to point out that they've already had a deputy district attorney dedicated to working on TriMet cases since 1998. So there's been this long relationship with the district attorney's office to address issues on a TriMet, but this is the first time they're adding a second person on this team, and obviously more help the better with all the cases and trying to look into things. Just having that second person to look into things just really does help.
And so this is coming after somebody, receives charges for whatever it is, or is, charged with something, then the DA decides whether or not to pursue those charges. And I know, we've heard before that the lack of DAs has been kind of an issue throughout this area, whether that's Portland or Multnomah County. And so assigning somebody else, is this hiring a new DA, or is this just shifting somebody over, the deputy DA, from somewhere else?
So this is shifting someone over from the DA's office to be purely dedicated to anything that happens on the TriMet system. But obviously in Multnomah County, the Multnomah County Deputy District Attorney can address cases that are happening in Washington County. That's just jurisdiction issues. But Mike Schmidt, the DA, was there, and he also addressed concerns about what you just mentioned. And he said really it comes down to the public defenders. He recognizes that there are still cases being dismissed because of the lack of public defenders. So he's calling on, the system to really get more public defenders online, and so they can represent these people accused of these crimes.
And I think that's certainly good information as well. So even adding in the assistance of this deputy DA, that's not necessarily going to increase the amount of incarcerations or criminal charges being actually pursued, is it? Or it's just going to help? It'll help maybe sort some of that out, but without a public defender, that seems like it's still in the same spot.
It comes down to the whole system. You need the whole system online working for everything to work properly, but this is just another commitment from the DA's office to show the public, hey, we are looking into these. We don't want you to think that we're ignoring everything that happens on TriMet. And just having that extra person to go through cases, investigate, take reports from police or transit police, and to investigate and present charges to a grand jury. If it's something really serious, then more than likely they'll be in front of a judge.
Have they talked about, or did they talk about it this, and they may not have, like some of the typical criminal cases or charges that they're seeing, that they're maybe having issues going for?
Yeah, so the current deputy DA that's been on, this case for a while, he was hired back in November of 2022. And so he's already been working for a year on a lot of cases. He says there's about 100 to 130 felony cases on his desk that date back all the way to 2019. So even before the pandemic, he's looking into things. But what he's saying he's seen is a lot of felonies, assaults, drug possession, a lot of vandalism. So it's a whole wide range of stuff that they're addressing.
That's a lot of felonies that are just sitting there on a desk. Yeah. If we're going back to 2019, I mean, that's going to be, I would think, difficult to get through all of that. So that certainly seems like this would be a big help. Anything else that you garnered? Like, what was the kind of the feeling of the room when they were talking about this?
There's a lot of hope that TriMet security and safety will get better. On top of the DA announcing another deputy DA joining the team, the Multnomah County Sheriff also announced that she's adding more resources to transit police. So she's adding a supervisor and 2 deputies to work full time for transit police. And just a little context on how transit police works for TriMet, because I know there's a lot of numbers floating around, how it's really low, not that 65 officers that they want. But the way TriMet's transit police works, it's an intergovernmental agreement where they have local law enforcement agencies contribute deputies or officers to work on transit police. And since a lot of staffing in those agencies are low, they're not able to commit officers or deputies to transit police. So as people and agencies really increase staffing, that it gives Multnomah County, for example, the ability to dedicate 3 more people to work for TriMet.
That's interesting. So is it kind of everybody in the area who's a part of TriMet, they all, contribute a certain amount of officers or whatever they can, and that's how that agency works. I actually didn't know that. That's really interesting on how that works. But it also makes sense if everybody's shorthanded that there aren't a lot being applied, put forward on that.
Correct.
Well, anything else that you think is important that people should know from this, or when, or if this is going to have any kind of effect, immediately, or something that people will actually see, or is this more just behind the scenes? They'll go through the paperwork more.
Yeah, so this is more behind the scenes work. I did just talk to a TriMet writer, and she did notice, more security, more TriMet officials walking around. TriMet has 5 different kind of divisions in their public safety team that ride the trains, check tickets, obviously transit police. So there are a lot of people that work in their security. But this one woman I talked to said, it got pretty bad, but now she's noticing more presence, and she sees things getting better on TriMet. So she's very, very hopeful. You'll hear more about that on 4 o'clock.
On the 4 o'clock. Okay, yeah, I was going to say, so that's at least good news. Some positivity there of seeing people are seeing some improvement on that. Well, Connor, thank you very much. For joining us. Always appreciate you being here and getting us that kind of deeper dive, a little bit more information about what's going on, so people can make their own assessments as well. And if you're watching live, feel free to drop in your comments. I know you will. So yeah, that's what you could do on social media. And Connor will have more at 4 p.m. So make sure you tune into the 4 p.m. news for that as well. Connor, thanks so much.
All right, thank you, Greg.
And again, for everybody who's joining us here live, we always appreciate you being a part of this show, because this is our live streaming show. This is where we get to do these longer segments. We get to do deeper dives. If you see something on the news and you want to find out more about it, if you're like, there was a 2-minute segment, but I want to learn more about what's going on with that, let us know. Send me an email, fox12now@kptv.com. And there's a good possibility I can get the reporter on, and maybe there's some more information that we can get into for you. So that's always something we can do. And again, Fox 12 Now live streams here every weekday, 1 p.m. is when we start, right after the noon news, and then we have programming throughout the afternoon. So I'm going to reset here in just a minute. We're going to switch gears kind of completely. At 1:30 p.m., I've got Jeff Kinney, the author of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So it's a very different story, but that's going to be at 1:30 p.m. So if you would like to watch that, make sure to tune in right where you're watching right now. You can go right back to that. You can always watch our previous segments on the Fox 12 Oregon YouTube channel or on the app. Another great way to watch these. And I just want to make sure that everybody has that information about this show, so you can follow along with the wide range of topics that we cover. As always, if there's breaking news, this is also a place to go for that too. So we'll sign off for right now. We'll reset. We'll be back at 1:30 p.m. I will talk to you then. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.